Can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. My feet have come too far for you to tie 'em to the ground. Can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Set my sights on where I'm going at. They turn it back around. Can't stop me.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and with me tonight is Carrie, Hart. How are you doing, darling?
I'm great, thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
hear that. Yeah, you've got some new book. You've got a new book out. You've got an awesome website with some great music and some good meditations on it. And we'll be putting that link in the description in a little bit. But what's this new book? Like, this is a different flavor for you.
Well, yes, it is rather. So the name of the book is Sojourner in Otaque, with the subtitle is Mind Expanding Ideas and Practical Tools for the Open-Minded Seeker of a Meaningful Life. And what had happened in my life was my husband of 46 years died.
I'm sorry.
And in that, yes, in that process of going through the grief and then wanting to create a new life that had joy at its center no matter what, which was I was absolutely determined to do. I went back and tried everything, experimented again with all the tools and techniques that I had explored for 25 years as a spiritual explorer. And then I kind of honed it down to these are the things that really, really worked. And this is what really helped me rebuild a life. And I decided that together with some new points of view that I developed having gone through that experience, that I ought to share that with people.
Yeah,
And
especially with the amount of grieving going on, the amount of grief we've incurred. I mean,
yeah.
we have not lost this number of beings since the Civil War in the United States. Like, my guys on the other side said it looked like a damn mess over here. I don't know what the hell y'all are on over there, but get it in order.
Yes. It's been rough, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah, and my grieving period corresponded with COVID as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah.
And those 2 years, 2020 and 2021, oh my goodness, just
Terrible.
they
Terrible,
were
terrible.
terrible for most of us. Yes.
And especially our spiritualists, because, we connect, we work within a web. And, when that web quickly changes, it takes a moment to go, what? What's
Yes.
this? What's this feeling? What's this energy? How do we deal with this? Now, I don't
Yes.
think it'll be the last time we have to figure out how the web gets trimmed so fast and how you rebalance yourself. So this is a great book. It's very detailed. It's not a hard read, guys, but it's one you'll want to have a notepad for, because she has little tips and tricks in there that you can put on your post-it notes and stick them throughout your house.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun pulling together the tools and techniques and just walking through all those again.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think are you a meditator? Do you
I
meditate?
can be. I can definitely meditate. I try to do 15 minutes a day. What you got in mind?
Oh, just that when I was going through the worst of it, I found myself pulled to just meditate for hours, which was
Mm-hmm.
unusual for me. Normally for me, it was just like what you're saying. In
Mm-hmm.
the morning, breathe down to a relaxing place,
Mm-hmm.
center myself like that, which of course I couldn't agree with more. I
Yeah.
think that actually the key to getting through these difficult times and any difficult times and actually just life
Right.
lies in that very first thing that you do every morning.
Oh, I agree.
It's absolutely critical. And the title of the book is unusual, Sojourner in Otaque. So
Mm-hmm.
Otaque is a word that I use to describe that place that we go when we meditate, when we access spirit in whatever
Mhm.
form that takes.
Mhm.
And so I know Deepak Chopra calls it non local consciousness, which is kind of not very poetic.
Deepak has a way of putting things, and it's like, Deepak, we're not writing a technical guide to Apple today.
It's true. Now, I love Deepak Chopra, but I understand that he's so interested in proving the scientific
Hmm.
validity.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I don't feel any need to do that.
Not anymore. When I was a young psychic, I wanted there's a reason I don't have the diplomas in my office, and that's because I need space for pretty things in my life. Like I took every class, every training. Like I remember when Deepak was doing the classes in DC, and he done a class on trying to connect, and he literally made it sound like we were trying to connect our iPhone to the internet.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
Okay. So I needed it then. Now it's like I don't care, believe me or not.
Exactly. Exactly. I did have to go through a time, though, of proving it to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that um, that's one of the really tough things to do on your, well, fun thing, but also something you have to go through on your
Mm-hmm.
spiritual journey is to learn to trust yourself.
Yeah.
So, what I did is I was doing readings for people,
Mm-hmm.
and I would tell them just send me your name, just your first name. That's all
Yeah.
I want. Nothing else, no information, because I was working not only to prove to myself and learn to trust myself, but also, you know, how you have to learn the difference between what you're getting, the truth that you're getting, and that other editor voice
Uh-huh.
that comes in and says, oh, that's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Don't say that.
Yeah. You have to learn not to have a filter. That is the hardest lesson for young psychics to get.
Oh,
I have described car parts across the world. I have dealt with husbands that had bank accounts. The wife's like, "Oh no, we're on all bank accounts." I'm like, "No, you're not. Here's where you find that." I, I have taught women how to take the glove box out of a vehicle to find the panel behind it, not even seeing the car. That's that fun remote viewing stuff that I don't get to play with that often. Did you
hmm.
get to play with that often?
Actually, remote viewing is not a strong skill for me. And
Yeah.
that it's so, do you know, that's one of the things I really love about
Hmm.
exploring all of this. And my whole approach has been just
Hmm.
experimenting. And it's so fun to find out how different everyone is. You know,
Hmm.
it's going on these little podcasts here. I was just talking
Hmm.
to someone who was saying that she did automatic writing, and that the problem was that then when she had to go back, it was hard to read the handwriting because it wasn't her own. I
Hmm.
thought that was so interesting because my I first got into all this field by channeling, and I
Right.
was writing down, but it was always my own handwriting.
Right.
And so I thought, well, it is so fun how different we are.
But we're all technically the same, because we're all on this camping trip together trying to figure out what we're here to do and map out. But you hit with this book a very hard period. And that's when our partner, our campmate, our whatever, soulmate is the marketing term. We'll just lay it there. Gets out of this trip earlier than you do.
It's frankly horrible.
Yeah.
It's just horrible. I can't, you know, I've had some women that, of course, since women usually are the survivors, or
Hmm.
quite often, you know, and when they find out that my husband died, and they not only feel bad for
Hmm.
me, but they are also for themselves, you know,
Right.
and they wish they could come up with something that would help them prepare for it, but you can't.
You can't.
There's
You
absolutely no way to prepare for grief.
no. Or
And
to get through it. Like there is no clock for it. There is no, okay, you get 20 minutes to cry, you got an hour to get angry, and then for 3 months you can just deny that he's gone, and then after that you have to clean out the house.
now it's after I had after a year, I talked to a woman whose husband had died 5 years before,
Mm-hmm.
and that year, that first year, of course, was absolutely horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, am I through the worst of it?" And
Uh-huh.
she said, "Well, no, actually, the second year was harder for me." Oh
Mm-hmm.
no! And then what it is in the first year, you're in shock,
Mm-hmm.
you're in denial.
Mm-hmm.
You really haven't come to terms with it, and
Mm-hmm.
you're so busy. You're so busy at first with all the things you have to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
As you say, cleaning out the house, whatever. There are a lot of things you have to take, all the paperwork, all of these things. And you also, in that first year, have a lot of support.
Mm-hmm.
And other people, are comfortable with you being in deep grief for a year. I think after that time, other people expect you ought to straighten out.
Mm-hmm. And at least get back to the new normal.
Yeah.
And I
So,
think as a culture, we are looking for tools to get to this new normal.
yeah. Well, I in that second year, what I found is she was absolutely right. It was
Mm-hmm.
very difficult, but in a very different way. It was all about uh, coming to terms with actually accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. And I found that my dreams were telling me that.
Right.
In the first year, I didn't dream about Ed at all. Not
He
at
didn't
all.
come visit at all.
No.
Huh.
Oh, he was visiting me, but not in my dreams.
Ah, okay.
I spent a lot of time with him in my waking hours.
Okay.
And of course, that's such an interesting thing. After the presence, how strong a presence, an energetic presence is right after
Mhm.
they leave the body.
Right.
It's an opportunity to really connect and take advantage of that.
Right.
But I had after 2 years or so, uh, I suddenly got a little bit of relief. It was where I became just sad instead of in deep pain.
Right.
And I based on that I developed a theory of grief.
Okay.
And I'd love your opinion on this.
Okay.
So what I believe happens is that when you have a partner, so
Mhm.
46 years we were sleeping together, we were together all the time, and I believe our energies got all mixed up together. So that walking around, I was part Ed and part me, and
Mhm.
we were just so close. And that then when someone dies, it feels as if their energy that was in you is just like pulled out. And that feeling that you have that your right arm is missing,
Mhm.
it really is.
Mhm.
And I think that what happens in that the first, well, I don't know how many years it is for everybody else. For me, it was 2.
Mhm.
And in that first 2 years, a lot of that pain and anguish is you have to rebuild your whole energy body. You have
I
to
agree.
create a
I,
new body.
you do, and you have to get into a new wave because I have a few spouses that have crossed on at this point that were
Oh,
no longer spouses when they crossed because they just didn't go that far. But on the same side of that, I can looking at both sides of the fields, they are trying to learn how to operate in a new existence. You're trying to operate without the physical existence here.
mm-hmm.
And for me, I make comments about my dad all the time. He's in the show. He gets literally. I had headache for 2 days. I moved him out. Apparently, he likes being in the show, so he gets to live in the show. But for that, I think we all have to learn to adjust. And it takes about for me, it was about 3 years. It took me about 3 years to really go, okay, this is my house now. This is what I want done with the house. And then to get back and find, even though he wasn't a partner, he was my father, finding things that I didn't know about, finding things and discovering different things that he had kept.
Mm.
That was always like a trigger or a tie or a rip,
Wow.
like finding his original pay stub, his original tax return when he first bought this when he first helped me get the house.
Mm-hmm.
He made what I make in a month, and going, oh my god, this is how we got through things. He literally ran a full year on what we made in a month. Like that, when we cleaned out the attic and found all his old paperwork, all his old notebooks that he had wrote notes down and wrote the bills down, and then looking at life and going, okay, we can do this.
Mm.
Okay, we can do that. And taking those small steps. And then I had a lot of what I call moon conversations.
Moon conversations.
Yes. And you
Okay.
go out and you yell at the moon. Why did you do this? How did you
Oh,
really do that? What the hell are you doing up there? Do
yeah.
do that.
I think it's so important. I I believe that we need to get really noisy when we're
Hmm.
grieving.
Yeah.
And however it is that we can do that, if you have your moon conversations, I would go drive in the car to be someplace where I didn't have to worry about if I was disturbing anyone or anyone worrying about me, didn't matter. And so that I could just wail and carry
Hmm.
on. And I think
Hmm.
it's so
Yes.
important to just make noise.
Hmm.
I once studied sound healing for a while, and
Okay.
we, and it just, that's one of the principles of sound healing.
Hmm.
Making noise really does help. It helps you
Yeah.
heal.
It helps you
And
heal. It helps you get yourself together. It also helps you get yourself in a position of understanding yourself. Um, but music is still a trigger for me. Is it a trigger for you?
a trigger in what way?
Like Ed Song comes on the radio and you're like, Ed, what do you want?
Oh, well, this is still pretty new. I mean, it's just been 3 years for me. I mean, I think about Ed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really sure exactly if I mean, of course, a piece of music could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes just a mood comes over me. And, and boy, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is just really hard. And you just say, all right, I just have to be with this,
Mm-hmm.
and just do it. But you know what, the there was a time, sometime in the first year, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
when I hit just the depths of grief that
Mm-hmm.
was so deep that I understood why women threw themselves on burning pyres,
Mm-hmm.
right? It just made total sense to me. Like if there were a burning pyre right now in front of me, that's what I'd be doing. It was that deep. And what's interesting about that is that I'm a believer you just have to let yourself go there.
Yeah.
You just go in as deeply as it takes because you feel as if you won't come out, but you do.
Mm-hmm.
You do. And it's like you're saying, you feel like you'll never stop crying, but you do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something cathartic about the really, really deep grief. It's there's there's a place where it's kind of like love,
Mm-hmm.
like where you understand
Right.
that the only way you can grieve that deeply is because you love that deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have problems with your identity? Because you had been Mrs. Hart for 46
Well,
years.
gee, it's so hard to all of a sudden be on your own. When
Mm-hmm.
you're so used to, hey, do you want to go out to dinner tonight? I don't feel like cooking. And now instead it's as I live alone, and uh, now I have to arrange for things if I spend time with people. It's a very different dynamic.
Very.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like it. That's understandable. What has been your newest joy you found?
Oh, yeah. Well, the the main thing is that I am remembering that I see. I'm an Eckhart Tolle fan. Did you
Okay.
like Power of Now?
I did.
I loved Power of Now. I thought it was just really powerful, and and I turned a lot to those principles
Mm-hmm.
of coming into the present moment, because I absolutely agree with him that it's in this present moment that joy exists.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't, oh, I wish things were different. If things were different, then I'd be happy.
Uh-huh.
Oh, if I could, no, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. This is the moment I can find joy. And I have and I believe everybody has this, a well of joy inside me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a deep well. I just have to remind myself about it sometimes.
Right.
But it's a deep well of joy that
Mhm.
if I remind myself to come into the moment and go deep and reach that, I can feel it bubbling up. And
Right.
so I think that having gone through the grief, that I'm more aware of that. I'm more aware of how I carry the joy with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I carry it moment to moment, and it's
Mm-hmm.
there, it's right there whenever I need it,
Mm-hmm.
and to turn to that, and there it is. Isn't that interesting? Because we have our whole society is telling us, of course, that we need to change our circumstances in order to be happy.
And I see that, but I also see a lot of widows do some things, and I've been really questioning about them.
Oh, good. What?
Immediately, and it seems like every widow gets a different car, paints the house, normally has to buy all new appliances because they suddenly die. Um, and then after all that movement, and that's normally within about the first year, they start trying to either one, learn about themselves, two,
Mhm.
go into therapy, or three, throw themselves into their children or their career so heavy for about the next 2 years that it's like, look, you've done work 90 hours, you were
Mm.
5 years old on this project. Can we dial it down a bit? Think
Oh, what,
about yourself.
so what I did was, um, I, first off, I moved.
Mm-hmm.
So Ed and I lived in Southern California, and we went to Pennsylvania on a little adventure there, and we were only in Pennsylvania for a couple of years, and he died there.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved back
Uh-huh.
to Southern California where we have family.
Uh-huh.
And but what I did to fill that void
Mm-hmm.
uh, was anything I could think of. In other words, I just joined things.
Yeah.
So I joined the League of Women Voters. I joined the Democratic Club where I am.
Awesome.
I did the I kept our yacht club membership in there and to go visit with friends there. And gee, I'm trying to. I took up, became a wine ambassador and did wine tastings. I wrote my book.
Uh-huh.
Wrote my book, and
Which isn't your only book, but we're going to talk about those in a minute.
okay. And so I'm just filling up,
Mhm.
trying to figure out where. Actually, this was based on my daughter was saying that she was a counselor for kids going off to college, and she told them, try everything, and after a while, you'll see what works and
Right.
what you like. And
Right.
that's what I was doing. So I thought, just try everything, and I'll see if I can find where I meet people
Mhm.
and uh, and it's just such an odd thing when you're used to being a couple and you're used to going having someone right there to go everywhere with, and then you're by yourself. So
Yeah.
one of the things you need to do is find other women who are by themselves
Hmm.
that you can go out with
Hmm.
and do things with.
And have
So
fun with and feel safe with. And that's the
yeah,
important part is to feel safe with because that's a journey that only those that have walked that path can look at you. Now, that anyone can hold space for you, but look at you and get the why you're so mad that there is no coffee in the mornings on your coffee table. There's no coffee waiting for you in the morning.
yeah. So the hmm, yes, what I found with the League of Women Voters has some older women in it.
Uh-huh.
And so it was interesting that there you go and you say, oh, well, that, they ask you
Hmm.
about your life. You say, well, my husband, just died a couple of years ago. And they, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
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 And they understood.
Uh-huh.
They understood.
Yeah.
But it's funny we talk about safety because that was something that really surprised me. I lived alone when I was single
Hmm.
50 years ago before Ed. And although I sometimes was lonely, I was never afraid. But
Hmm.
after he died, I went through a period of time when I was really afraid.
Hmm.
I was just used to having someone else there, especially a man, right? I was
Right.
used to that. And I talked to a girlfriend. She said, oh, no, that's all right. That passes.
Hmm. Did you
That
get a
passes.
dog?
Huh?
Did you get a dog?
No, no, I had a cat, though.
Ah, they don't do well with burglars.
Oh, no. They sure don't. That's not their thing.
Yeah.
But there are a variety of things you can do, like get a dog.
Hmm.
But it did pass. It
Yeah.
was just one of those things
Hmm.
that really surprised me. It just caught me off guard. Like, what? Why am I afraid?
Uh-huh. Now, I know you were with Ed for 46 years. Did you
Yeah.
find yourself picking up something he used to do?
Say again?
Did you find yourself taking on or picking up a personal habit that he used to do?
Oh, nothing's coming to mind right now. What are you thinking of?
Well, what I'm thinking of is Dad used to do morning devotions.
Mm.
All his life, you didn't talk to him till he was done in his chair. I found myself through the 2021 through 2022. I have an hour of focus time for study, for meditation, for yoga, all that. Before it's like get up, grab coffee, go to work, get
Oh,
it done. You know, but it's that nope, this is my hour, and I get bitchy if I don't get that hour in the mornings.
yes, it's very important.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. But that wasn't Ed's thing.
Okay.
So uh, Ed was, uh, well, he kind of made fun of me,
Uh huh.
and he would just laugh. Except after a while, I finally understood that uh, the things that he was into. He was really a mathematician,
Uh huh.
and he was into these areas of mathematics and physics that are really much weirder than anything you and I are in. imaginary numbers and strange
Hmm.
things like this.
At the same time, that's quantum.
It is. It is. It
It
is.
is.
Because he was a very funny guy. He
Yeah.
he liked to laugh about everything,
Hmm.
and at sometimes at my expense.
Yeah.
But
That's
he
that's a
was
good
also
thing to
very
fight.
accepting of. He was also very accepting
Hmm.
of my quirks, and I was of him. We were good to each other that way. We let each other be as weird as we could be.
Uh-huh. Very cool.
Yeah. You know, an interesting thing, you're talking about your father. My experience with my father's passing was interesting. He came to me in a dream, and at that time I was normally going down in the morning to the garden and channeling an entity called Quado. So I was doing that every morning. And so it was about just before dawn that he came to me in this dream. So I just grabbed my journal and went down to the garden and got a
Mhm.
message from him. And what was interesting was that his first message to me was all about how much he loved me and his wife and my sister, and he
Mhm.
just wanted us to know that. And that was pretty much what the first message was. Then, after that, I had several more messages. But what was so fascinating to me was that every message, he was growing younger.
Mhm.
He was maybe in his early 80s, 81 or something like that when he died. He was growing younger. And he was also beginning to look around. Like the first message was all focused on us.
Mhm.
And then after that was, whoa, this is kind of an interesting
Right.
place. And then he was a young man in his prime, and
Mhm.
he just went off and had some adventures.
Yeah.
It was just kind of interesting.
No, that's the way it's been with Dad. He's grown younger.
Whoa.
He's gone more mouthier. He still, however, has opinions on everybody and everything. When we do dream talk, because sometimes we just, I'll yell at him in here and he yells back at me. But when we do dream talk, um, it's comments about, being a little bit more this, you need to do that. Don't forget to winterize the house. Did you
Oh,
you've not been able to see your mother? What the hell is this? You're supposed to be taking care of her. You know, getting caught, I sometimes question, am I having flashbacks to childhood? And it's like, no, he's just decided that he liked the house, so he built it on the other side the way it was. And I'll get called into his office to get yelled at in the dream, and it's like, Dad, you're on this side. This isn't my house. This is your house because my house now has paint colors and you know. But I don't know if Ed has started doing this yet or not, especially since you moved. We've been rearranging the house, and if Dad ain't happy with something, he steals my lighters. If he doesn't
oh,
want me to go out at night, he steals my keys. Like, I'll find them in the deep freeze. And lighters, I don't know where he's got a stash of them at. I'm sure he has teleported them somewhere in this house. And one of these days, we'll open a drawer or be in the basement or in the attic, and we'll find this big, huge thing of lighters. Because that was Dad's thing, was he collected lighters.
lighters?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
like cigarette lighters?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, if he doesn't like what I'm doing or we're doing something he's not happy with, they'll start disappearing.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, that was the first one of the first tricks he learned on the other side was how to move things.
He is a trickster.
Oh, he is. He loved a good trick, a good prank. He loves that. What about your Ed? How's he doing on the other side? Has he figured out anything?
Oh, I had an interesting sense of him when he died,
Mm-hmm.
then in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
that I just, I was just there with his body, and then he just lifted off really fast and really high. And the thing is about Ed, as I say, he was mathematician and philosopher at heart, and nobody could ever figure out what he was saying. He had this fabulous wit, and everyone enjoyed his wit. But when he was seriously explaining it, well, it's like we were saying, like Deepak Chopra.
Right.
You say, what? And so people never knew what he was talking about. And my sense of him when he lifted up was that he went to what I would call source,
Mm-hmm.
where all that mathematics made
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Right.
And the sense that I had of him was, oh, yeah, yeah, these guys understand me and I understand them. And the questions that I had, they're all answered here. And it was like he was just at home at this uh, very high level of source.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And the communications that I have with him aren't at all like what you're talking about with your
Okay.
father, trickster level things.
Yeah.
No, we just share love. You
Ah,
know, we
so
pretty
it's
much
an energy
I
level.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we agreed that there's no that there are to be no regrets between
Mhm.
us.
Right.
And because that isn't a place you want to go. You
No.
don't want to go into a place where, oh, if only right, who
You're
needs
right.
that?
Some people go through that.
Yeah.
I went through about a whole month of, well, maybe if we had done one more chemo treatment, maybe if we had, maybe if I hadn't done this, or maybe if I had done that, or maybe if I had done this, or took him here, you go through that with people. And it's like, no, it happens. Everyone's going to make an exit. It's not like you can just lay down one night in bed, stand up the next morning out of body, and just walk out the door. Someone's got to make an exit somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's fascinating. And I had a girlfriend who for a time she's had various people dying in her life.
Mm-hmm.
And I and I tuned in. It was interesting. I tuned into it. And so she said, oh, well, my brother-in-law has gone into the hospital. And I said, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, call his children right now.
Yeah.
They have to go there. And it was like that. It was like that.
Yeah.
He was gone within a couple of days.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. Like when people talk about not believing about psychic things,
Mm-hmm.
that to me, what's so interesting is that I can understand why things don't always work in a laboratory. I've always found that things work through connections,
Right.
right? That when you have an emotional connection, or even in this case, this was a person I didn't even know, but I had a strong connection with my friend.
Right. No, but it's within your web. And this is what, like,
Yeah.
when I'm talking to clients, because I still read and I enjoy my readings. Like, I don't think I'll ever stop reading clients. And they're going, well, how do you know this? And I says, well, A, I'm looking at the cards. B, it's like playing telephone. It's my energy from my phone to your phone, from you to that person. And I'm working on that line there of energy. And it's like looking at a giant web. That's why I need to know my target.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that connection. And this is why I'm really enjoying this. The most fun that I've been having are these podcasts
Yeah.
because I'm making connections. It took me
Uh-huh.
a little while to understand this. At first I thought, oh, this will be nice. People will have a chance to talk about my book. Maybe I'll sell some books. And
Mm-hmm.
then after I had one or two of these, I thought, oh, that isn't what this is about at all. What
Yeah.
this is about is connections.
Mm-hmm.
I am now connected to you, and
Uh-huh.
through you, I'm connected into your whole web.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's wonderful.
So when are you going to take the host seat?
When am I going to take the host seat?
Yes.
Um, I'm formulating what the next steps are that I'm going to be doing. I have a good friend who's
Mm-hmm.
that I'm thinking we may do some podcasting together. and because she and I just have fun and kind of spark
Awesome.
off each other.
That's how this started, honey. Was just me and my friend and 2 hour conversations, and it's like, okay, we got to put this on there. This shit's too damn good. And then it's like, oh, I want to go talk. I've got books and books and books and books. I want to talk to this one, and I want to talk to that one, and oh, okay. And then their agent started sending me the other books, and I'm like, bring them on, bring me the book. I will not bring an author on that I haven't read the book and I at least enjoy it. Now you have a newsletter up, so everyone can keep up with you.
Right. So what I'm hoping is that your listeners will go to carriehart.com. That's CARRIEHART.com. And sign up. You can also link from there to Amazon to buy my book.
Yeah.
But
and it'll be in the show notes. But you've got more books than just this one.
Oh, that's true. That's
You do.
true.
I actually realized that you've got one that I'm like, you need to update it. Earth Survival Guide 2020. It's time for an update. But that's a good
Earth Survival Guide. Yes. I had so much fun with that. That was just one of those books that it just poured right out of me. And the premise of that book is I must be from another planet because this one doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And I had so much fun just pointing out all the ways in which this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And boy, the last couple of years have not disproven that at all. Matter of fact, things are just even crazier than they were.
And then you and Ed wrote a book.
Oh, yes. The Edisms Revealed. Yeah. Oh, I can tell you one of my favorite. So Edism is what I dubbed all these things. He was just so funny. And one of the people always said the best place to be was at a party standing next to him when he would just make all these observations.
Right.
But so one of my favorite Edisms at my expense was we were doing the taxes, and I looked and I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I spent so much money on clothes." And he said, "Well, it's not so bad." I said, you don't think so?" I said, "No, not when you spread it across all the sizes."
He would have got a frying pan that night.
Oh, and he just was always like that. Just he had just so many funny things. And so what happened is over those years, I would just jot it down on cocktail napkins, little scraps of paper, little post-it notes, and then I tossed them in a drawer. And I finally, when they thought, I've got to put together a book. So I put together a book of just funny things that Ed said over the years. I have enough material for a second book, but I just haven't done it yet.
Very cool. And it'd be nice if Ed would show up and give you some fresh material for the other side.
Yeah, do you know what I'm finding? Ed doesn't seem to be as funny anymore.
Really?
I think it's that you know how he'll still talk about philosophy and mathematics if I want.
Right.
But those quick quips were they seemed like you needed to be living an Earth life for those.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? They were like a response to. It was his way of coping with the world.
Right.
Was instead of just being angry, he would just be funny.
And that's understandable. I mean, and especially, I don't know. On the other side, I think there's a few different ways people take on the other side, like we take on this side.
Oh yeah.
Some of them get comedical. Some of them get very reflective. Like they take their lessons more seriously on the other side, and it's like, well, let me help you get through this one because I had a hard time with it too. Kind of like the older student model. And then you have ones that just go off and do their own thing, and it's like you never hear from them. It's like, I get caught. My mother never comes to visit me. Well, she's too busy dealing with her cat. or trying to figure out why these two horses don't like each other. You know?
It's kind of like my father, after he got young and in his
Mhm.
prime, he wanted to just go. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, there's a lot of fun stuff to do here.
Hmm.
And my sense with Ed, the help that Ed gives me is
Hmm.
being there as a very loving presence,
Hmm.
so that I can at any time I can get just a calm of love come
Hmm.
over me. And um, I have a I saw a flash of something once. There's of him, like the two of us sitting on a couch, and he's leaning back and has his arm along the back of the couch behind me, and I'm still really focused on. Well, it's that chapter I had in my book about the game of Earth life, right?
Hmm.
I'm really focused still on the game of Earth life, and I'm all focused there, and he's just sitting on the couch waiting,
Right.
just relaxing and waiting. It's kind of fine. Although I did talk to him the other day, and I said, well, I wonder, what we'll do next after I'm through with this.
Hmm.
And he said, well, yeah, of course we'll do something together, but let's not make it Earth this time.
Check out Pallades. I hear that's a real fun place this time of the year.
Well, I think there are probably a lot of fun places to go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're still discovering that. So are you doing, I know you've got your meditation. Guys, go check out our website. It's full of stuff. You've got meditations up there. You've got books. You've got articles.
Do you know what I think I am working on what my next step is. And
Uh-huh.
that's why I want people to sign up for the newsletter so I can let them know.
Mhm.
But I have so many different things that are coming at me. One is this energy called Wanatakwe, which is the where the word Otakwe came from,
Mhm.
that this energy that came to me. And I'm being led more and more deeply into that. And the Wanatakwe energy was very active in the Amazon thousands of years ago
Mhm.
and then withdrew. And now it's back. And uh, I brought it back through a portal.
Uh-huh.
And I'm getting some, well, Wanatakwe would like me to write up the Wanatakwe way. And I'm getting, for instance, I had been thinking about mantras, and then what came to me was, well, no, actually, we call them sulas, and
Mhm.
they're not just a repeated word; they're actually melodic chants. And so I've
Mhm.
been getting these little melodic chants coming to me in this other language, and I'm getting more guidance on the belief system and more words and everything. So obviously this is one of the things I'm going to be going into. I have to tell you, this is a thing with me is I'll do something, I write a book, and then I'll say, now I'm going to be sensible here, and I'm going to market this book, and maybe I'll build a course on it, and I'll do all these things the way you're supposed to. But then after a little while, that becomes old news to me.
You get tired of eating the same soup.
Yeah.
That's why, I enjoy having conversations with authors, making connection, enjoying their web, enjoying their energy. But
Yes.
and I've warned the agents, don't send me authors that are just ready to cover their 20-question press conference, because I'm going to throw them curveballs. So it's been fun talking with you, darling.
Oh,
Grab
yes.
a cup of coffee. We're going to take a break, and everyone go check out her site, carriehart.com, and sign up for a newsletter, because she's got some exciting stuff on her draft board. A new book, an update on a book I think that she needs to do. And you and Ed have a good night, darling.
All right.
Let's take a break, guys. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Dottie the Psychic, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup. Well, One reason is to irritate my social media manager, Aeson Knight. Hi, Aeson. The other reason is because I like to get to the naked truth about what it means to be a neurodivergent LGBT person with psychic abilities. I've got vlogs, blogs, and podcasts and videos all related to trying to live my best life and helping witches and bitches do the same thing. So, you can check all that out and get a reading from Dottie the Psychic at DOTTIEthepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.
Do you have a cute pet? We know you do. Each week, Tracy Van chooses from submitted photos a featured reader for her Facebook page and provides a tarot reading. Your adorable pet cat, dog, rabbit, goat, chicken, snake, or more could be her next featured reader. Visit tracybann.com, TracyBann.com, and click Featured Reader to submit. We look forward to seeing your pet next.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and I am here to tell you how to get in contact with me and a little bit about what I do. I am the High Priestess that works with shadow work to help you grow and heal. And I work with access bars, Reiki, I do power forms. I'm recently getting into crystal healing, sound therapy as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, that is LadyGwendolynHealing.com. Book your appointment with me. I do in person, I do over the phone, I do over Zoom. We can do that as well. My main goal is to help you grow and heal, because I've been there, I'm still going through it, and I let my strength help guide you. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
Well, welcome back. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
You're in a new space. Do you want to just
I am.
verify?
Yeah, so we've had some changes. So if you watch Psychic That Plans, we were planning out the whole week for our roommate T to be here, and he has actually moved out. So I have moved from the co-share space of living room Joe's office into the front bedroom, finally.
Right.
Finally! We are here. Oh, finally. So, yeah, we've been trying to get that set up so that I could be on air tonight and it wouldn't be like, what dump did Joe fall into?
Yeah. But not only that, but you got upgraded. You've been given an office.
I've been given an office.
Yeah.
It has office now.
Yeah. An office space, and
Yes.
so it'll be a little different. You won't see people walking behind you, but I have a living room and yoga and sewing space now.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. So all that's going well. And yeah. Just gotta pretty it up a bit. Yeah. I did the best I could to like throw everything in here and be like, okay, let's get air.
Yeah, just got to pretty it up. Just got to organize it. People actually get to see your Zen garden that you've had for a while now, and your practice.
So, like, it's right there.
Yeah,
Like right there. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. See, Shannon, if he does that again, I will leave him. Like, I'm just telling you right now. Like, don't believe it didn't cross my mind. Like, if he takes over this office after I set it up.
No, you can have that office. I enjoy my space back here. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, because that kind of happened because originally I set up the office back there, and he was like, "I think I need that office space."
Well, that's
Which
because
he did.
I did, and also, originally this was my office. I let you move into it. It wasn't working for you because, again, it's designed for me.
Well, yeah, we had pets going through, and that
Yeah.
was a little much. A
Uh-huh.
little much. Oh, but yeah.
Yeah.
But he also knew the struggle of being in the front corner of the living room, and
Yeah.
because that's where he moved to when he moved out of the back room.
Right. Well, that's because you wouldn't let me set the. You were like, no, that's not a bedroom, and I'm like, yeah, it is. No, that he won't work as an office. Yeah, well, yeah. We gotta have, and I'm like, just let me.
I wasn't really big on the cave idea. That was my
Oh.
biggest problem with that as a bedroom. Was like, I don't want to be in the cave.
You're a bear.
I kind of like it though. It's kind of working. But yeah.
Yeah.
So,
anything in the news worth talking about?
oh, actual news stories? No, you had a guest.
Well, I'm just asking.
I did send you an "Am I the Asshole?"
Well, I know you need to send that in private.
Well, yeah, I sent it in private.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent that over there. I was having a hell of a time. I don't know. Is anyone else having issues with Reddit this evening?
Reddit's been having issues for about a day and a half now.
Okay, because I thought it was just me for a minute, and I was like, no, it seems ticked off like no matter how I come in.
Right.
But yeah. But yeah. But as for news, well, see now Reddit says there's nothing wrong.
Okay. Who said Reddit was right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Right.
Maybe that's the part that's really not working.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, wow. So during our show, apparently, the former Cheeto-in-Chief is set to launch his 2024 campaign. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, we have had a shooting at University of Virginia.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I saw a little bit about that earlier today. So yeah, Charlottesville, Virginia, the suspect in the University of Virginia shooting that left 3 people dead and 2 wounded was part of the class field trip that ended in tragedy Sunday night, a university spokesman said Tuesday. UVA's Brian Coy says suspected gunman Christopher Darrell Jones, 22, was a member of a group of about 24 who traveled 120 miles by bus to watch a play in Washington, then returned to campus. Someone amongst them chose to do an act of violence when the bus got back around 10:30 p.m. University Police Chief Timothy Longo said. Officers responding to a report of shots fired found the bodies on the bus. Oh. Shannon says, I found a new trash TV show, Seeking Sister Wife, and I'm just waiting for someone to snap and get stabby. That is all.
Finding Sister Wife, I don't know. I haven't followed that one. I have been following the fallout of the sister wives. Christina's left. I hope Janelle has left. It has been rumored that Janelle has left. I hope she has. And with me being in what I call the Cody position of this situation, looking at him and going, "You're an asshole, and you aren't even handling this correctly."
Yeah. Well, it's been a mess all the way through.
Right.
Like, everything we've watched on that one is just like, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently can't. Here, I'll send this over to you.
Okay.
It's a page 6 article, but it's very upsetting to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about this one.
Okay. Oh, there it is. All right. So Jodie Sweetin seemingly shades Candace Cameron Bure after marriage remarks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so Jodie Sweetin appeared to throw shade at her former Full House co-star Candace Cameron Bure for choosing to join a network that only focuses on showcasing traditional marriage.
Mm-hmm.
After Jojo Siwa shared a screenshot of the article titled Candace Cameron Burr's plan for new cable channel, No Gays, on Instagram, Sweeten responded in the comments section, "You know I love you." In her posts, Siwa slammed Cameron Bure for being rude and hurtful to the LGBTQIA plus community.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, honestly, I can't believe after everything that went down just a few months ago that she would not only create a movie with intention of excluding LGBTQIA plus, but then also talk about it in the press, Siwa 19 wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Sweeten's comment garnered nearly 2,550 likes and inspired several fans to voice their own opinion on the controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, at Jodie Sweeten, I always like Stephanie more than DJ anyway, one person commented, referring to Sweeten and Cameron Bure's respective Full House roles.
Mm-hmm.
At Jodie Sweeten, the better Tanner sister.
Mm-hmm.
A second agreed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there.
There is. As you know, I will just call her by her. DJ was on The View. She had to leave The View because it was violating her Christian values to be discussing and getting slapped in the face with how much that, her bigotry is.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Fuller House failed.
Yeah.
And of course, this stuff coming out, several fans applauded Sweeten for taking the stance against Carmen Perez. I'm very excited to develop heartwarming family and faith-filled programming and make the kind of stories my family and I love to watch, it said in a statement. And GAC fits my brand perfectly. We share a vision of creating compelling, heartwarming content. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder how long this narrative is going to help her.
I don't think that's going to do much. Don't think that's going to do much at all.
Yeah. I like this one. The quote here, it says, "I don't remember Jesus liking hypocrites, Candy, but sure, make your money, honey," was the retweet.
Yeah. Oh, despite her decision, Cameron Bure had claimed in the past that she had no problem working on projects about the queer community. Quote, I support all things that we go through as human beings and would love all our characters to explore whatever issues that are current in our culture and our society, she said during a 2016 panel.
During a 2016 panel.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
flash forward 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's trying to do the loving Jesus doesn't mean I hate gay people or anyone. Ew. No. See, here's the thing though. Then you back up to her continued comment from that interview with the Wall Street Journal. I knew that the people behind Great American Family were Christians that loved the Lord and wanted to promote faith programming and good family entertainment.
You're right.
Oh. So you can't have gay characters and have, faith-filled programming and good family entertainment.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's what you just said.
That's exactly what you just said.
We did.
Right.
Like, sorry. Have a nice day. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, the Badunco and Rio got into this.
No.
Yeah. She quote here. Damn it! I hate when it's photographed. Why did you send nasty people to me? You don't know me or my heart. I'm not homophobic and always sad when people think otherwise. Loving Jesus doesn't mean I hate gay people or anyone. You sent a bunch of hateful people to my page writing horrible things. Oh, next time you spread love and kindness, even when you disagree with people, sending you love and wishes her best, truly.
Okay, way to not hear anything that just got said.
Yeah.
Like, from anyone.
Yeah.
Like, no, sorry. That's what you did. That's what you're promoting. That's what you went with.
Right.
Like, yeah.
That's what you've Legoed your brand with. That's what you've saddled your brand with. And below, it's been proven she donates and raises money for anti-LGBT causes. She can say she doesn't hate gay people, but she'll cash those checks.
Yeah. That's a whole mess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then again, the fact that, like, most of what you know her from is from Full House.
Yeah.
And moving right along. And we're walking. Like, that's basically been her career so far. And now she's ending up on some Love the Lord network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just kind of not.
Yeah.
Not a lot going on there.
Right.
Like, oh, what was the guy? Cameron.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
That basically had a childhood career and then he came out like anti-vax and anti-gay and anti-whatever. Yeah.
Right.
I think I'm trying to figure it out. It's going to bug
Right.
Cameron. That's who I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Like, bless his heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, similar career paths.
Yeah. And it's like, she's trying to cash that mega cheese head dollar.
And hey, that's great.
Yeah.
But you should be prepared when you're going to do that. That, yeah, you're going to get some flack for that, especially if your messaging is inconsistent.
Yeah. And your messaging is tied to your paycheck.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is.
So.
Tied to your paycheck. Anyhow.
Mhm.
Let's move on to take a break. Well, we just took a break, didn't we? Like 20 minutes ago. Should we take a break or should we just go into Reddit?
Oh, take a break. Why
All right,
not?
we'll
I'm
take
sure
a
some
break.
people forgot to go pee.
Okay.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvan.com. That's TracyVann.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
Hi, Techie Joe here. I work with Aeson Knight, some of the best psychics in West Virginia, to create amazing live streams and podcasts for the Psychic Coffee Shop Network. Together, we brew up great content discussing news, events, hot topics, and more, all from a psychic perspective. On the Psychic Coffee Shop, we interview amazing authors in the metaphysical realm. Coffee and Tea combines Aeson with Tracy, Dottie, Natalie, or Lady Gwendolyn for the good and the bad of being a psychic. Shameless Self-Promotion with Dottie the Psychic talks to leading and emerging YouTubers and business owners in our community. Mountain Bears brings you the latest in LGBT news and politics. The Psychic That Plans answers the question of, well, how a psychic plans. Plus, we're live on air. We take your comments and your questions, including psychic advice questions. Check out our amazing programming, book an appointment with top psychics, and find out all the wonderful things we have to offer at PCSBnetwork.com today.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that call now button there on my site. Great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy. Welcome back. Okay, I'm going to get the YouTube loaded up for the poll. We will be over at Aeson Knight's YouTube. But let's find out if Joe's an asshole.
Hey, this one's actually pretty decent. Am I the asshole for downplaying my income? So after 30 years of steady progress, I'm making pretty good money. Like, I recently readjusted my 401k so I won't overpay into this year, and the change in my take-home pay is more than my roommate pays in rent in my sort of low-end ugly house in a poor neighborhood. Both of my roommates and several friends are constantly struggling. I try to help by drastically undercharging on rent. They probably pay half what the going rate is for rooms in my city, and being the one who buys takeout on movie nights, but they still struggle. I pretty much downplay my income and will downplay my available money by pointing out the college expenses I pay for my child and the cost of filling my old junker car with gas. I was hanging with a friend recently and he asked what I make. I was honest. He called me a jerk and said I was being condescending to my friends by acting poor. He was actively angry that I'm faking being poor. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to save up so I have a warm place to go to the bathroom when I'm old. I'm going to charge rent to live in my house. It seems wrong to have people live there rent free. I just way undercharge. I have no desire to get a fancy new car or show off with a nicer house. I do spend money on travel, but that's rare due to my job needing me, and no one sees how nice I travel. Am I the asshole for acting poor?
Is he acting poor? Is he acting responsible?
I don't think he's, well, because there's two aspects to it. The one is going to be like, okay, he is fronting to some of his friends that he makes a whole lot less than he does.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, he's putting all of that money or as much money as he can towards his retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And so a large chunk of that, while yes, technically he has a decent income, he doesn't go throwing it around. He doesn't go, live outside, his comfort zone. He's comfortable where he's at. He's comfortable with the car he drives, etc. He's not making a lot of, big purchases. I think those are two different things. One is being, financially frugal. The other one is not necessarily being so honest with his friends about his actual situation. I think not the asshole. I don't think your friends need to know that.
Right.
I don't think your friends need to know your financial position.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where a lot of people get themselves in trouble, is when friends know each other's financial position.
Right.
Sort of like how that turned into a very angry friend calling him a jerk.
Right.
And condescending to his friends. I don't think he means to be condescending. I think maybe he has a lot of fear towards the future, and maybe not. That's justified.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's scary to be looking at retiring.
Right.
I think everyone's kind of there and understands that and can get there with it.
Right.
It's not the landscape, our grandparents and our great grandparents and our great great grandparents retired to.
Right.
Like,
furthermore, I think I agree with Shannon here. It's none of their business. And furthermore, I'm sorry, I'm going to say here, okay, is that people that live in your house need to pay an equal share of rent.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I would hope no one has a problem with that. But it sounds like maybe that was part of the friend's problem. Was like, you don't need the money.
And it's my asset.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's going too far. I think that's when the friend became the asshole.
Right.
But no, I'm cool with OP. Like, I don't know. I mean, if you're reusing coffee filters, you've gone too far. Right. Otherwise, I think you're okay.
Right. All right. Apparently it's holding some comments, so I'm posting them if you aren't seeing them.
There you go.
And we are in unanimous, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll.
All right.
And the poll results are 100% no. He is not the asshole.
All righty.
Yeah. They'd pay the rent elsewhere. He's not running a shelter. And I'm going to be really frank.
And they're paying less
They're paying
than they
less,
would otherwise pay.
and yeah, they're struggling, but that's the choices they make.
Well, there's no knowing without the OP telling us. Like, it could be the choices that they're making, it could be underemployment, it could be any number of things.
Right. And it could be underemployment, but that's a choice you make. You don't have to only have one job. You don't only have to only work 21 hours a week. You don't have to stay at a job that's paying less than the given wage.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't assigned a job at 18, and that's just the job you have to live with. You do your 40 hours a week, and you walk out.
True. Again, some of that is choices. Some of that could be former choices that have become life.
Right.
I mean, like, as in, people who go to prison often have a really hard time turning it out with a solid financial future.
Right.
Like, it can be very unsteady.
Right.
But all right, so relationship advice.
All right. Relationship advice is in your private.
Yes, my 32 male wife, 34 female, started a business and it's destroying our marriage. Advice appreciated. Hello, all. I apologize for the long post, dealing with lots of emotions here. I'm seeking some input and potential advice support from those that have been through something similar. I've been married for 11 years to a beautiful, driven, and amazing woman. We have had a lot of ups and downs, but all in all, I've considered myself very lucky to have her. The issues within our marriage start about 5 years ago and have increased in varying amounts over the years. In the beginning of our relationship, I took up working in a local production plant to make enough money to put my wife through school. Once she completed school, we agreed that I become a stay-at-home father for our 3 children so that she could continue to pursue her dream of opening her own business, starting by renting space at a local business and finally opening her own storefront 5 years ago. At the same time, 5 years ago, I also began working as a substance abuse counselor for a local mental health agency, as our children were all in school and I was no longer needed to stay home. I became worried around the time that we purchased her current building, as she became immediately overwhelmed by the work that was required to complete the remodel in the space. Additionally, she did not want to hire an outside contractor to do the work, which meant the work fell on myself and her father. I would work 10-hour shifts throughout the week and then turn around and wake up at 6 a.m. Saturday and Sunday to work another 10 to 12 hours on the remodel. While the remodel itself was very challenging and time consuming, I knew the work would eventually end and the finished product being a space my wife could be proud of. This remodel created massive conflict between us. I admit that at times I was very burned out and struggling to find the energy to commit to the remodel after a full week of work, which led to moments where she would accuse me of not being supportive. Bear in mind, I am also the primary caretaker in the house. I make the meals, do the dishes, and generally tend to spend time with children while she works on her business stuff. My wife has always had very intense emotional reactions, and since this period of time, my wife has been resentful towards me for my apparent unwillingness to assist in the remodel since this time, despite the fact that I was there every weekend, regardless of how run down I felt. I know I needed to work on my willingness to be there at times, and I did the best that I could while trying to balance all that I have on my plate. She's never let go of this idea that I never supported her and didn't ever want her to open her business. This is blatantly false. Her drive to chase her dreams is part of what attracted me to her. Fast forward to 2022. And I hardly feel as though I have a wife anymore. Since the doors opened on her new business, it has been 1 year to next of watching her get seemingly further and further away from me and our children. She is very successful in this business, but it has led to an overwhelming amount of stress for her that is then passed on to us. Multiple nights of her isolating in her bedroom, listening to podcasts on how to maximize revenue, how to be a better entrepreneur. Multiple weekends of trips we've taken as a family, only to have her spend the vast majority of her time on phone creating posts for social media to bring in more clients. When we go on dates, she is typically on her phone working, only putting it down when I ask if she can focus on us for a minute. When she gets off work, she typically comes home, enjoys the meal I made, and goes right back to work in our bedroom, often falling asleep in the middle of a project, only to wake up at 3 a.m. and continue working where she left off. She snapped on me numerous times, often accusing me of holding her back or being too much when I ask for some of her attention. I'm not a needy guy, but I don't think asking for an hour of her time here and there to watch a documentary or go on a walk with me is a big ask. She treats her employees and clients like gold, showering them with gifts, adoration, even trying to assist and lining them out with mental health support when needed, not to mention trips out of town for team building while myself and the kids get the leftovers of her time at the end of the day, and we are lucky if there's any of her left for us at all. I've been told numerous times that she is working on being home more, but typically I only ever feel like she is home less. She listens to these podcasts that talk about manifesting, and if you just work this hard in XYZ months, you could be set for life if you implement this one thing, only to end up needing to work harder while giving our money to these coaches that brag about this lifestyle they live, but I don't ever see them spending time with their families either. I feel like her kids and myself are at the bottom of her list of priorities, and I'm so torn between being a good husband and supporting my wife to chase her dreams, while also being a man that desires affection and to feel desired. I feel I support her. I tell her daily how amazing I think she is and how proud I am of her for what she has achieved. But I do not feel desired or even wanted by her anymore. I feel like I am a footnote in her life, that I was a means to an end and she no longer needs. What do I do? I miss her so much. Even though she's passed out next to me every night, I feel 1,000 miles away from her. She was my hiking partner, my best friend, my documentary buddy, so many things. That all stopped when she started this business. I know it's hard work. I know it takes time, but I have to believe somewhere in there is supposed to be room for her family too. I don't even know what to feel anymore. Any input advice would be greatly appreciated. I do not want to divorce her, but I also cannot keep a marriage afloat alone. What advice do you Redditors have? There we go.
Well, let's see. She's within 2 years of her business.
Oh, 5.
New building, new business.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
You've put up with me for 3 months of starting a new business.
Well, launching a new product.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I mean, other than momentarily wanting to check you in for a mental health evaluation, other than that, it's been fine. But no, I mean, like, still, we managed to have found time even through that.
Right.
So no, I don't really. I think she's at this point using the business as a scapegoat out of her marriage.
Well, I think
I don't think she wants to be divorced.
Right. Nor do I think that but I don't think she's using it as a scapegoat. I think that she's using it as like, I got to make this amount of money to keep these doors open. I've got to do this. Oh, there's this new thing. Oh, I've got to use social media. I've got to do this. I've got to do a post. I've got to do everything. The first thing you do is hire her an assistant.
He has no part of this business, though.
Doesn't matter.
I mean,
hire her an assistant.
Fair enough.
Tell her point blank, you're so successful, honey, we need to get you an assistant. Take something off her plate.
Yeah. Take a lot of things off her plate.
Exactly.
I would, because I would hope this far in and with a new location,
right,
this would all kind of be self-sustaining, at least at this point. I mean, like, if she's showering her clients with gifts and can find the time, but I don't know. I think that's just who she is at work. And then I don't think she has it for the end of the day.
I think that she doesn't. I think that they do not have an idea of her schedule. I think she's running so fast and so hard, and just another run, just another mortgage payment, just another car payment, because this is what her brain is doing. I've got to put food in my house and take care of my kids, and I've got tuition for my kids, and I've got to pay the mortgage on the house, and I got to pay the mortgage on the business, and I got to do this, and I've got to do that. And oh, Chelsea's having a baby, so she's going to need a raise in 3 months. Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I'm kind of back to, I think that she needs, and I don't think anything he's going to do is really going to fix this, other than to try to talk to her about, you need to start accepting the success that you have, and realize, and hire people who can do what you do the way you want it done.
Yes.
And start moving into business owner, not the business.
Right.
Because I think maybe that's where she's gotten to, because it sounds like that's where she's at.
Right.
Is that like, okay, you did good. Now start to quit being the person doing it.
Right.
And the person making it happen.
Right.
Like that directs the business.
Right.
I mean, but if she's not willing to do that, or if that's not where the business is yet.
Now, some tips for that we've done. One, we have an hour a week minimum that we turn the phones off, we turn the computers off, and we do nothing. Nothing. We also have morning meetings, or I call them morning meetings. You probably call them getting your tea, where it's a rundown of what's going on in our worlds.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, her office has to leave the bedroom. Her whole office has to get out of the bedroom.
Okay, now that is one thing he has locus of control on, is kick her office out of the bedroom.
Yes.
Like, that's it. You're done. You can put that office wherever you want. If you want to get a couch and sleep on it, that's your choice. But you can't have the office in here. I'm done with the office in here.
Yes. That has been one of my main rules since I do not like an office in a bedroom. I don't like a desk in a bedroom. At this point, I don't like phones and tablets in a bedroom. But I'll put up with them. Mine doesn't. Now, granted, I'll be honest. My bedroom is behind that door. Yes. That board behind you is my bedroom. But it's not my bedroom. When that door closes and the light goes off, this is Gizmo's room.
Yes. But no, I mean, well, granted, it's not like you wouldn't hear your phone ringing. But still. Yeah. Well, and my phone does go into the bedroom. Mostly because, like, I can ignore my phone to a degree.
Right.
But, like, there is a potential client could need me at 4 a.m.
Right. And that's understandable. Some of our clients could need us at 4 a.m. Most of our clients are awake at 4 a.m. We are not.
Well, I'm not, typically. You sometimes are.
Yes. Sometimes I'm in here at 4 a.m. Yes. But when you met me, I was still in struggle mode. I'm now getting into struggle mode again. But we had to put some grounds. Because I'll tell you what's going to happen to this CEO. She's going to crash. And when she does crash, it ain't going to be pretty, because she's the only breadwinner in her mind in that family.
Yeah, and I don't think she realized he went back to work.
I don't think she realizes that he wants to help her. Now, I have a question for our audience, and I'm going to poll the question.
Oh, I'm there with Dottie, though. Yeah. Take all those shitty business coaches off her plate, because she didn't need that much help at this point, at least not people to tell her what to do. I think that's been a bad choice. Although, then again, that may be one of those, like, I don't know, she may have become a bit of a life coach junkie.
Right.
Because I've noticed that seems to be an unfortunate thing that happens to a very small demographic, but they get stuck on the, like, something they're doing must be wrong.
Right.
And it's like, where did you get the idea that what you're doing's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a business, it takes time, it grows, you're doing the things. You know, you just gotta let it, you planted the seed, you've watered it, it's sunny, there's not a flood, you've protected it all you can.
Yeah.
You gotta wait.
Yeah.
You just gotta wait. Like, that's a thing.
So there's a poll up for the community over on Aeson Knight's YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say what the poll is until the voting ends on it.
Okay.
Because it's a question I often find that gets neglected.
Okay.
Okay. But no, get an assistant, get a good planner. Get a good planner for everybody in the household, include a little Johnny with his crayons, and sit down and have weekly staff meetings of your house.
I don't even know, is that where she needs to be?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
she's literally trying to do everything for her business when I'm sure the husband can arrange a lunch date.
yeah. Yeah, Dottie points out that it can be like a drug because they can fill you with a bunch of hope.
Dottie, really? You've been in my business coaching sessions.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever come out of yours with it. I mean,
because yes, I am a business coach. I am a personal coach, but I'm a realistic one. I don't say if you do X, Y is going to happen. I say, so what are you doing? How is that benefiting you? What's the profit margin?
mm-hmm.
Interesting. Not the answer I thought.
Ooh.
The question was, if this was coming from a wife and not a husband, would you feel the same way?
Okay.
Okay, I'm letting this one through.
Oh, she said she limited it to one asshole, Aeson.
Yeah.
LOL. Yes.
But no, there are.
That was not a big difference, though.
It does.
I don't think that. No, I think that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I don't think it makes a difference. I think if it were coming from a wife about a husband,
mm-hmm.
I think now that's a legitimate concern.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was always a legitimate concern. It's just it didn't used to be.
Yeah.
Like like I don't know. Men got some weird easy out.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but when you look at divorce rates, when you look at parents who hate kids who hate their parents,
mm-hmm.
like sometimes this is the shit that does it.
Right.
Like mom disappeared 5 years ago and hadn't been back since. You know, my wife disappeared 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I eventually filed for divorce or had an affair. Like, I mean, I think that's everyone's ... Like, you know where this is going.
Right.
Like, it's inevitably going to get there. You cannot be alone in a marriage for extended periods of time without realizing one day, I'm just not in a marriage anymore.
Right.
Like, oh, Shannon, I would, because I've been on both sides of that equation, the breadwinner and the stay-at-home parent.
Mm-hmm.
My hubby complained I was working too much and he wanted my attention when he wasn't working. And I asked him what he wanted to take over doing, so I had more time.
Yeah.
That's a fair question, and that's a fair situation. I think this husband would probably be okay with doing that.
Well, I think that he isn't, and here's why. What is the bulk of his post about?
Well, there is a good chunk of the post about the remodel on the office.
Mm-hmm. That was 5 years ago. What have you done for the last week?
Right.
What have you done for the 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. I don't know. I think after that blow up, they just kind of both went to their own corners.
Yeah. What's scary is someone asked him, so how's the business? How successful is the business? Do you actually know? He says, I do know. And as of right now, it's fairly successful. On average, she brings home a weekly half to 3/4 of what I make an entire month. Okay, so it's the income dispergency here. But by the end of the month, her paychecks to herself are nearly double what mine are. While able to afford overhead costs, her back bar, new machines, payroll for an employees, as well as not needing to put classes, coaches, and seminars on credit due to the nature of her business it runs. Income is fluent depending on the time of the year, but consistently she does well. That's good at least. Sometimes the stories include financial infidelity. That's the obsession of working because they are hiding tons of debt. Honestly, I might run a credit report if I get a chance. You mentioned coaches that she never seems to put her phone down. Her business is homegrown on or not M&L. So no, she's running an actual business. She also runs her own IG account, Facebook, everything else.
Hi, so what she really needs isn't an assistant. She needs a social media manager.
And an assistant.
Well, the assistant would be nice, but it sounds like if she were to just get a social media company to come in, handle her postings,
right,
she could move that time
right
into something different.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, that seems like a reasonable request.
Yeah.
I don't think he's being unreasonable. I don't think anything he said was being unreasonable.
Right. But what I find worrisome is that he doesn't actually know. He doesn't actually know what the business is doing. He isn't giving actual energy. And he says the money is fleeting. We've gone through this. We go through times when some of this stuff, some of the things our businesses are doing, we are gangbuster busting our asses. But like October 1, we have a house meeting. I'll say for the next 4 months, I'm going to be very busy. Some people need to take over the following items.
Yeah. Yeah. Dottie points out, or a more realistic posting setup.
Depending, Hootsuite's a lovely thing. It takes you about a month to set up, but once you get it set up, you can run a lot of stuff. I'm getting ready to launch a lot of social media stuff. I'm getting ready to distribute my vendors a little bit more. But Joe knows about this. There's constant communication about what our businesses are doing, how our businesses are, where we need to balance our stresses at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we're both interlinking in our businesses. He's treating her business like a job, and it's not a job. It's her blood.
It is, but at this point, so are her kids
Mm-hmm.
that don't see her, that she doesn't spend time with, even when she's in the same room.
Again, because she's overloaded, getting limited support, and having to bring work home because she's doing the work of multiple people here. We have identified 2 employees she needs to hire.
Yeah. Yeah. Shannon points out some of the coaching sessions can be written off on taxes as education.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then she also supplies, my hubby complained I was working too much when he wanted my attention and he wasn't working so he'd take more time. And when I was the stay-at-home parent, he said he had no time to spend time with me because he had to pay for stuff. So I went and got a job to take over some responsibilities.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's a back and forth. I think the stay-at-home parent thing is just not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm glad they were able to do it. Yeah, I get that. And I think a lot of people would say that if it was the dad being like that, they would just say that's a man's job to take care of his family.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. I'm done with that
Right.
shit. I'm just done.
Right.
Like, I'm just done with it.
Right.
Like, it doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't. And especially as an entrepreneur. My other thought here with him is it sounds like that he's jealous that she's making more income. I know as an entrepreneur, you don't work just to work.
Right.
So, either he's got a fat retirement that she's building, or she's trying to get everything put together.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Now I'm having okay, so now I need numbers.
Yeah.
So he is, I'm sorry, help me on that. What was his job title again?
He is a substance abuse counselor.
All right, assuming he's in the median, did they happen to say what state in the post?
No.
Okay. Then it looks like he's probably making around 45,000 a year. That means she's bringing home 90.
Right.
So they're roughly a $130,000 a year household.
Right.
I mean, I was taking it off of the medians. Like, I don't know if they're because Shannon was saying they don't make 30,000 most places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I figure if they're at 30 plus 60, that's still 90,000 a year in income.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, her business isn't doing bad.
Right.
Her business is not doing bad.
Right.
So.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish them luck. I hope that, they can take some of the feedback that they got.
Right.
And turn this marriage around for both of them.
Right.
And for the kids.
Right.
Like, that's not cool. Oh, so Shannon says there's a lot of people in my workplace who were substance abuse counselors with master's degrees, and they make more where they're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Working call center at a car lot.
Right.
Yeah. Income got a little wonky, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we all just all point that out? Like, income got wonky.
Right.
I'm sure there are school teachers with master's degrees that could make more at your call center at a car lot.
Right.
Like, let's be fair.
Right.
So, alrighty.
Interesting. I try to take my wife out as often as we can afford, once a month, twice a month, depending on the finances at the time. Really? As often as you can afford?
Yeah, that sounds like there's a problem.
Right.
I think I would kind of go with that previous poster who said something about you need to find out what your finances are.
Well, not only that, but you need to find out where your finances are.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to find out where your business finances are, because when she has a heart attack from all the stress she's under, trying to buy new equipment, keep up with everything, do everything, there's an issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So my advice is hire her an assistant and stop whining, or become her assistant and stop whining. You know, why are you working a second job when you change the agreement? And with that, good night. We're going to have some fun.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Let's talk about our wonderful Patreons.
Oh, yes.
Our Patreon thing.
It's over here. I got it.
Thank you.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryant, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Dottie the Psychic, Tracy Van, Donna White, Caitlin Bell, and the Laughing Tree Grove. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become one of our Patreon sponsors and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yep. And good night, y'all.
Good night.
The deck is stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire.